Seasonal entertainment for young and old. Christmas Eve on BBC1. At 5 to 6, pop quiz chaired by the irrepressible Mike Reed. At 6:30, Little and Large.
Plant a string bow. What are you having?
Coke.
At 7:10, Flash Gordon meets Ming the Merciless. At 5 to 9, Val Doonican's Christmas Party.
Come spend Christmas with me.
At 9:40, Bergerac.
You fond of diamonds, Miss Vale?
Do you know a girl who isn't?
At 10:45, A Christmas Good Old Days.
Of champagne, but it led that poor girl into sin.
And with Midnight Eucharist at 11:45, this is Christmas Eve on BBC1.
Well, on BBC Two, shortly, the BBC television Shakespeare is The Comedy of Errors, a play about people in dire straits, threatened with execution, betrayed in love, terrified of sorcery. Usually when it hasn't been a musical comedy or comic opera, it's been treated as knockabout slapstick. This production delves deeper. It stars Cyril Cusack, Wendy Hiller, Michael Kitchen and Roger Daltrey. In 10 minutes, we discover some mothers do have 'em with Michael Crawford. First, the news with Nicholas Witchell. This is BBC1, and the time now is 5 o'clock.
The Harrods bombing, police have a new lead on the man who bought the car. Exactly a week after the IRA exploded a car bomb outside Harrods, police have named a man they're anxious to interview. They say he gave the name Mr. Black when he bought the car which carried the bomb. Today, police parked an identical car outside Harrods, and they hope the reconstruction will bring more leads. They've also appealed to children who were collecting car numbers there last Saturday to contact them. Gary Lloyd reports.
This is how the killer's car looked. Wrong way round in a one-way street, and cosmetically recreated in its same shabby livery. Same scratches, same variations of wheel paint, silver and black. Same number plates. It's already jogged shoppers' memories, adding to what police have learned of the bomber's vehicle.
And we now know that the person who bought that car from the dealer used the name of Mr. Black.
Was he a bomber?
We don't know whether he was a bomber. He was certainly associated with the bombers, or at least that's the way it appears at the moment.
Detectives want people who took photographs around Harrods to hand in their film. They're trying to construct a chronological record of last Saturday's events, before the bomb exploded.
A new attempt is to be made to avert the strike due to start in nationalised shipyards on January the 6th. Union and management representatives in the industry are to meet officials of the conciliation service ACAS next Friday. The two sides will talk to ACAS separately, but may meet later in the day. The dispute is over a pay and productivity deal. A helicopter has crashed in the North Sea. The accident happened in the Brent oil field east of Shetland. A spokesman for Shell, who operate the field, said the two-man crew had been picked up within minutes and they appeared to have only minor injuries. The Prime Minister has reassured the Falkland Islanders that she's not prepared to negotiate the sovereignty of the islands. In a BBC World Service broadcast to the Falklands, Mrs. Thatcher made it clear that the restoration of democracy in Argentina had made no change in her position. The right of the Falkland Islanders to determine their own future was not negotiable. Mrs. Thatcher said she hoped the islanders would look after British troops and give them a terrific Christmas. South Africa yesterday announced that it's involved in a new military campaign against Swapo guerrillas based in southern Angola. Across the continent, another guerrilla war is going on, and it's believed that South African troops are in action there too, backing up the Mozambique resistance movement, the MNR, in its fight against the Marxist government. Largely because of the war, the Mozambique economy has been brought to the verge of collapse. A report from Michael Burke.
For 2 years now, the guerrilla war has swirled around the southern Mozambique town of Inhambane. The shops are empty. When food supplies do get through, people have to queue for hours with their coupons. Just out of town, the army sweeps through the jungle searching for MNR guerrillas. They walk straight into an ambush. The army command says its latest offensive is winning the war, and their soldiers seem to believe them. But in this ravaged country, with its wrecked economy and devastated roads and railways, real victories are elusive. The misery and hatred of the endless fighting surface when the prisoners are taken back to town. The women who shelter the guerrillas get the same treatment. In a huge effort to defeat the rebels, the government is mobilizing thousands into a people's militia. Mozambique is a country on its knees that desperately needs peace, but the whole nation is being sucked into a war nobody knows how to end.
At least 30 people have been killed and more than 60 injured in a train crash in western Zimbabwe. The train, packed with Christmas shoppers and holidaymakers, jumped the tracks and crashed into an embankment near Hwange, 300 miles from the capital, Harare. The government has ordered an official inquiry, but has ruled out sabotage. And to the south, in KZ, it's been announced that gunmen killed a white family of 4 in an attack last night on their farm. The government is blaming dissident forces loyal to the Zimbabwe opposition leader, Joshua Nkomo. In Paris, 10 people were injured when a bomb exploded at the fashionable Grand Vefour restaurant. One woman had a leg amputated and is in a critical condition. The bomb, packed with metal fragments, went off in a ventilation grill outside the restaurant as the last customers were finishing their meals. So far, no one has admitted responsibility, but police believe it may be linked to a grenade attack on another Paris restaurant last month, in which 30 people were injured. At Anchorage Airport in Alaska, a Korean DC-10 cargo plane collided with a twin-engined Piper Navajo in thick fog and burst into flames. The Korean plane, with its three-man crew, tried to take off on the wrong runway and ran into the small commuter plane with 9 people on board. Despite the impact of the crash, the smaller plane's cabin was relatively undamaged, and the most serious injury was a fractured shoulder. Elsewhere in America, bitter winter weather has brought traffic chaos, with freezing conditions causing countless accidents and an estimated 100 deaths. Firemen in Chicago and throughout the Midwest have had to tackle a spate of blazes in homes and other buildings. With temperatures sinking to record lows, many flights have been grounded, delaying passengers trying to get home for Christmas. The actor, playwright and broadcasting personality Alan Melville has died in a Brighton hospital. He was 73. Alan Melville, who made his name with musicals in the 40s, had numerous West End successes and appeared in many television series. One in the late 50s was A to Z, his own programme about show business. All Christmas leave has been cancelled for detectives in Greater Manchester after 2 murders within hours of each other in Rochdale. A disabled man of 32 was found battered to death at his home. The second victim was a 19-year-old who was stabbed in the heart after he'd gone out for a drink. He died before reaching hospital. Peace protesters at the Greenham Common Air Base in Berkshire, now spending their 3rd Christmas there, have been inundated with cards and gifts. But there's also growing hostility towards them from some quarters, as Chris Lowe reports.
It may be Christmas, but the vigil outside the Greenham Common Air Base still goes on. Some women have gone home, but over 100 will be sleeping in their makeshift tents at 5 camps around the base. It's not very comfortable, and Christmas at Greenham is unpleasant in other ways too.
Well, there's a local group called Greenham Women Out, which is young people, mostly men, who come in very fast cars, and they have fired air pistols, they throw firecrackers at us, they throw blood over the places we're living, they've set fire to some of the vendors before. It's been going on for several months now, and it's just towards the Christmas, it's now getting a bit worse again.
Nevertheless, they've done their best to cheer the place up, and they certainly won't go short of food. Every few minutes, well-wishers arrive with boxes of goodies, and they've had so many Christmas cakes and plum puddings that they've given many of them to local children's homes. Meanwhile, on the other side of the fence, it's business as usual. About 70 policemen will be guarding the camp over Christmas, and the army too will maintain a watchful eye, just in case.
There was only one league football match in England today. Brentford staged their game against West London rivals Wimbledon in hopes of attracting a large holiday crowd. David Cass went to see how they succeeded.
Brentford's reputation of being a family club turned today's gamble into success. It was clear well before kick-off that supporters had declined the last-minute scramble round the shops in favour of football. Inside the stadium, Father Christmas distributed sweets on the terraces. But on the field, there was no seasonal charity for Brentford's Stan Bowles on his 35th birthday. When Chris Kamara scored, it looked as though Brentford, last but one in the third division, were about to give their fans an early Christmas present.
The result, Brentford 3, Wimbledon 4. In Scotland, the leaders Aberdeen moved 5 points clear with a victory at St Mirren, and in Division 2, Queen of the South 2, Arbroath 1. I'll be back with our next bulletin on Channel 1 at 25 to 11.
Good evening to you. Well, very few people are going to see a white Christmas in this country, anyway. Perhaps one or two shepherds right up on the northernmost hills of Scotland, because very mild weather's pushed right in across the country now, and that's going to continue northwards and even get up to Shetland, I think, before the end of the night. It's going to be a very windy 24 hours, though, and there's going to be a fair amount of rain about too. This low is going to track to the north of Scotland. It'll be around Shetland by this time tomorrow, and then race across into Norway, and it'll keep some strong winds going, some particularly strong winds, I think, up in Scotland, a fairly stormy period there. And then later on tomorrow, those winds dying away. But with the winds, I think, keeping a fair number of showers going, so showers continuing through into Boxing Day. Well, let's have a look at the satellite picture. I'm pleased to show one of these because I can use my Christmas present. I've been giving a new pointer, and it shows a fair amount of cloud up in northern parts of Scotland. There's some snow mixed in that at the moment, then a clear patch of weather, and then more cloud in southern parts, and this is the out to the west, a major lot of cloud. That's going to come in and bring more rain over southern parts of the country tonight. In fact, that rain's already arrived down in southwestern parts of England. There's going to be some quite heavy rain mixed in it too, and with the fairly strong southwesterly winds, it'll push right across these southern parts of the country. Difficult to know precisely how far north it'll go, but I would suggest somewhere South Wales to East Anglia. Mild night tonight, and this milder weather is going to push its way further northwards, and you'll find the snow in the far north gradually turning to rain. A very windy night up there, as I say, and a windy day in the north tomorrow. Some quite strong winds eventually turning into the north. A lot of showers about too, especially over northern and down the western side of the country. More in the way of rain over southern parts of the country to start with, gradually turning more showery. Well, that's it from me. Bye-bye.
Christmas Eve entertainment on BBC1 when Little and Large get the festive season underway.
Well, my father was a duty operator. My sister could weave and spin. My daddy had an interest in an old cotton gin. Watched all that money rolling in. He's on his way, sis. Rolling in my sweet baby's arms. Rolling in my sweet baby's arms. Forever the shag till the railway come back. I'm rolling in my sweet baby's arms.
Little and Large and guests tonight at 6:30.
Well, in 45 minutes, Mike Reid will be rolling in to take the chair for Pop Quiz. First on BBC1, confusion reigns in an extended episode in the life of Frank Spencer, proving once again some mothers do